In this video, we are going to be looking at storing turmeric the same way we tried to store the ginger. I've never done it with turmeric, but I've got so much of it this year, I'm ready to give it a shot. But, yeah, turmeric, stored over winter for planting next season. Now, let's get into it.
Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave.
Well, hello and welcome to the Bowtie Florida room. We are in Destin, Florida, and it is a somewhat warm and muggy morning out this morning. It's 63 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll put on here what it is in Celsius. It is humid. It is really humid. It feels like Florida in the fall, but our temperatures right now are going down below freezing over the next, I don't know, 40 hours. It's just a consistent drop on the forecast. So we'll have to see what happens with that. Some of you know that we put ginger in this soil not too long ago. And some of you know that we had a small harvest of turmeric. Now, this is not all of it. This is just what's left over after preserving some of it in powder form and sticking a few pieces in the ground. But I have way more turmeric than I can use in a lifetime. No, I don't know about that, but certainly this year. And so I'm going to put a lot of this back into the garden in one way or another. We're going to talk about two different ways that I want to store my turmeric. One is going to be in the soil, and we're going to use this small tray. And the other is we're going to just put some of it in the ground in a whole bunch of different locations. I have a friend that's going to let me put some in his gardens, and we will head over there in just a little bit to do that. You can see here, he has beautiful gardens here that are very old. These gardens are so well established, it's amazing what grows in this area. It's beautiful. I love being able to work on this property when I get a chance as a handyman. But I'm going to take some of these over there and plant them in his garden later, as well as out in a few places in our garden to see what happens. Now, weather. Number one, we have sand everywhere, well-draining sand. And we're going to talk about a couple of different types of sand as we're out there. But I'm going to put some of these whole hands, well, maybe not that much. I'll probably break off this much and stick it in the ground in a few places. We're also going to stick a few of those into this soil we're about to prepare. I feel very confident that the sand is going to serve to drain very well. Now, one of the reasons why I like these shallow dishes is that in case I put too much water, there's no drain holes in these, folks. In case I put too much water in them, I can put my hand on it and I can drain water out. In fact, you can see in this video that I just drained out a bit of water out of this because I just watered this tray this morning with this bucket right here. One thing that, here's a garden hack for you, a house plant hack for you. If you're concerned about the chemicals in your water, what you can do is you can go ahead and fill your water bucket up the day before you're going to use it or when you empty it. And if it sits overnight, a day or two, great. What happens is a lot of that stuff will evaporate out and you'll have better water, is what I'm told. And so that would be an experiment to try sometime. So it's supposed to have better water. And so I will, when I empty my water can, I will go ahead and fill it up and set it somewhere so that the next time it's time to water, I can just go in and pour better water. We're going to try an experiment with that here in another video. Let's get this started and talk about the first way I'm going to store this turmeric for seed next year. Now, this method I have used for 3 years, I think. I told Connie this morning, I think it was 3 years in one of the comments on one of the previous videos. That was just this morning. So I'm not positive. I'm pretty sure that it's 3 years. So basically what I do. Now, first off, I have soil from the garden. These are from the raised beds. It's the best soil I have. It's got sand in it. I've been putting sand in the beds to try to get more structural soil in the raised garden beds for structure, for biome to live in and grow and develop and continue. If you're all compost, that compost will break down and the soil goes down. The more compost you have, the lower that soil is going to sink. Now, I want some compost in my gardens. I say because I like growing in compost. For my purposes, it works best for me. It gives me less worry about having to feed my garden on a regular basis because the compost has a lot of nutrients in it. And so we'll talk later here within the next month about where we get compost from. So I'm just taking the soil from my garden, and it has compost and sand in it because use what you have, folks. We have sand. That's just all there is to it. We are in Destin, Florida. I am standing below the cement of our foundation here. I'm probably standing on 30 feet of sand. And so if not more, I don't know exactly, but I know it's a lot of sand below us, so we use sand. Some of you have clay. You can put organic material in that and make it good. Just use what you have. So many times I hear, well, you have to go buy this kind of soil and that kind of soil, and it just sounds like it's going to get expensive real fast. That's all. And frankly, I am a cheapskate, and I'm not going to do that. Because this is from the garden, there's roots in it. In fact, this right here, I found this morning. It was sticking out, proud as anything. You can see down here at the bottom, there's actually roots coming out and two new shoots coming out, new runner shoots coming out at the growth node on this piece of dollarweed. And it is grown, it's stuck up. This top inch here has actually grown in the time that we last did that ginger about a week ago. And so this stuff grows fast. It's amazing. So yeah, I'm picking out root bits in here and trying to make sure this is clean. The other thing about this trays of ginger and turmeric is they're right here in my Florida room. I look at them regularly. If something starts growing, I can pull a weed out of it. In fact, there was whatever this is, something grew from seed right here. Grew two little cotyledon leaves. Taking this soil, just tapping it down a little bit, I'm going to just nestle a few pieces of this turmeric. Now, this turmeric will grow eventually. I've said before, ginger is slow to grow. Turmeric takes forever, and it really does. If this is in the soil, it'll start doing little shoots from these little nubs all over the place, and it will grow a new plant. And so, if we keep this in, and this is my theory, if we keep this here in the soil over the next couple months, we're going to plant it out probably in under 2 months. But in the next couple months, we're going to put it in here, keep it in the soil, and hopefully it'll encourage it to start growing. There's a whole bunch of nubs on this. I'm going to keep a few hands together like this to see if we can do even more. I'm very curious to see if that works. Keep an eye on this. So subscribe to the channel and keep an eye on the garden tours, because we'll know if this is taken off. We'll also do a video on growing turmeric, or planting turmeric and growing turmeric as the season progresses. This is the one I showed earlier, and I'm going to just break off that hand, and you can see how orange it is. Ooh, my finger just barely touched it, and it's already turned orange a little bit. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but good and orange, good and live inside. It's not as bright orange as when we harvested it, but it is still good stuff. And we're going to just nestle it down in here. Here's a nice big piece. I'm going to nestle that down in there. I'm kind of being wasteful a little bit, I'll admit. I don't know if wasteful is the right word, but I'm being generous with these because I have so much, folks. There is just an absolute ton here, and more, like I said, more than I'm going to ever use. I'm just going to nestle a few of these freshest pieces in here. This one, boy, it has roots in here already. Now these roots I'm pulling off are already dried out. They're not going to be any good, but it's going to develop. I'm hoping if my theory holds, it's going to grow new roots. It's going to grow new structure to keep itself alive. I do think it's kind of interesting how much this thing looks like it's just right on the verge of shooting out those little light colored tips right there. Those are just aching to grow. I'm not even sure if this one will do good in the garden. I'll be planting it outside directly in the dirt. We are going to plant some of these older pieces, which are still alive and good. I'm going to be planting some of these out in the garden around the bee box in what I call the meadow area, and see if we can get them to grow. Yeah, some of these, I think these may have been the pieces I planted last April, March or April, when I planted this in the garden originally. Back to my tray here, and I'm not being very scientific about this. This is not something to stress about, folks. If it works, it works. And like someone was saying on one of the other videos, they're buying new stuff. They couldn't get it to last over winter. And that's my concern here. This may not work, but I will be sure and fill you in on a later video, see how this works. Yeah, and I'm just picking those root bits out. I'm going to put another layer on here. This soil does have a little bit of water in it. In fact, if I go like this, you can see it's holding together. Oh, there's a few drops of water coming out. It's pretty moist. We'll see how this works. So, another layer in here. See, I like pieces like that in my mind. They're just ready to explode. And I'm just pressing them down in there. Oh, look at that beautiful piece right there. That's something to plant. I'm going to plant that over in my friend's yard. I'm going to put that with that. We'll put that over there. Now some of these, look how orange that looks. That looks really good. Plant that here. And I know there's an up and a down to this, but you know what? Nature will find a way, as it always does. It knows if I pointed these things down, it will turn around and start growing the leaves up. It doesn't get confused. It'll figure things out. We will make this work. And I am almost done with my second layer here. I don't need a lot, and frankly, not positive this is even gonna work. Look at that beautiful orange piece right there. We'll set that in here. And there's a few more good, strong looking orange pieces that I'm gonna put in here. I don't think I can fit any more. Let me see if I can get a smaller piece here. Yeah, there's a nice small piece. I don't know if that's going to grow. I've seen pieces that small grow, but I'm just going to keep this. And just like the ginger, you can see the roots of the ginger kind of pooching up over the edge. It doesn't matter. You just want them in some moist soil. And incidentally, I just watered this tray of ginger for maybe the second time. The first time would have been when I did the video, which you can link to in the cards, which is the upper right hand, that little letter I in the upper right hand corner. I will try to remember to link it in the description if you don't get cards. Some devices don't get cards, like a Roku does not. But I will be linking it in the final screen of this video, in the closing sequence. You will see it in the probably the upper right hand corner of the closing at the very end of the video, which is going to be a little while because I'm talking way too much, and this is already becoming a slow process. Now this is already moist. I'm just going to put just a few drops of water in here. And the reason I like using these flat trays, oh, see, it sank way in. Oh my. So yeah, there's a lot of sinking going to happen in here. But the reason why I like these, and let me show you here, I just put my hand on it. I know I put way too much water in there. It's kind of sinking in. And I can take it, I can tip it, and you can probably see here in just a moment, there's some water dripping out. Okay. Not much. So that's not much of a worry. Let's get outside. So we're here in bed number 3 underneath the magnolia tree, and here you can see the pomegranate trees are all sticks right now because the leaves have fallen. It is winter. We are on January 18th. It's about to hit some freezing temperatures for a few days. Day after tomorrow, or a few nights I should say. During the days it'll still warm up to 40 degrees, but I have a bucket of turmeric here that I've picked out, and you'll notice that there's a variety of pieces here that I've picked, and I've got these flags. We're going to be marking the turmeric with these orange flags, and I'm saying this because, folks, if you watch many of my videos, you know that these videos are my garden journals. So when I go back trying to figure out what on earth are those orange flags doing in my garden, I'll be able to look back and remember, because my ADD brain does not. That's just all there is to it. So I'm going to zoom you out a little bit here so you can kind of get a view of the bed. This is the bed between, it used to be the pepper bed over there, and it is the tomato patch over behind me. And basically, I have my hory here. No, I don't. The life of someone with ADD. Here's my hory. It is, I don't know, I'd call it a garden knife. It has a serrated edge, has a little hook here for catching things, has rulers on here, and it's kind of a sharp point. It's great for planting stuff like this, and that's what I'm going to use it for. Now, oh, is that a zinnia? I do believe that's a zinnia. I'm going to let that stay. This here, I don't know what it is. I believe it is a weed. It can come up for the time being, some of it, and I just pulled the top of it off. Not too worried about it because it will grow back again. Now, once the turmeric starts growing, wow, this is a deep-rooted plant. I think I may need to get this up. So you can take that hory, loosen the soil around down there, and give that thing a pull. I'm reaching down trying to grab as much of that root as possible. Wow, that's a pretty deep-rooted plant, whatever it was. I may need to find out what that was. Anyway, I see little bulbules in there and a nice big taproot right there. So, yeah, weeding is one of my weaknesses. I know. But basically, all I'm going to do, like I'm going to take a piece like this right here. Now, this bed right here, I will want turmeric to grow in. I'm moving turmeric over here. It gets shade a lot of the day. There's a shade cloth right up above me and behind me, so the sun, just a little bit of sun is going to hit this bed directly during the day, which this is an understory plant. It likes growing underneath stuff. It prefers that. And so I'm going to plant this, I don't know, good 5 inches down. It will take forever to come up. If it comes up, folks, okay? If. I don't know that this is going to work, frankly. I'm going to take this down and put it almost the full length of my blade into the ground. Gonna put one of my little orange flags right at it, so I know I got one planted right there. Now here's the cool thing about turmeric, folks. It is allelopathic. What allelopathic means is when something is growing and it doesn't allow stuff to grow under it, that's allelopathic. Now there's some things that will grow anyway, but if I go over here and look underneath this, there's not a lot growing underneath that plant. It's not letting things grow. In fact, I can see something trying to get away from it over there, trying to grow away from it. But a lot of plants are like that. Rosemary. In fact, let's go look at the rosemary real quick. So Gardening with Des just taught me not too long ago that rosemary is very allelopathic, which if I lift up the leaves, you can see there's not a lot growing under there. And that's because of the allelopathic properties of rosemary. It does not allow stuff to grow under it. And it's a nice benefit for growing something like this because you can keep other weeds down by growing things that do this, that keep weeds down. The loofah last year, it kept a lot of weeds down. So we can grow other stuff to help weed the garden, help keep the weeds from growing in the garden, which is kind of cool. For a lazy gardener like me that gets distracted easily, it helps. Anyway, I'm going to plant several of these around in here, and some big ones and some small ones, and I would be very curious to find out if, that one's about 5 inches down, if these actually grow. And I'll be honest, I'm not being careful with these, just toss them in there. Nature will figure it out. I'm not sure which way is the best direction to plant them. I know that I have always planted them with the points up like that. Ooh, there's a big one that I'm gonna have to grow over here a little ways. We have a sago palm starting right there. But now these won't come up until May is my theory. I'll say May. Yeah. If that soon, frankly. This is a big piece right here. Need a big hole for that. There we go. Put a yellow or a red flag down there. All right. So I planted a few more bits and pieces out here in the same bed. Now this bed, you can see how low the soil is. It's going to get soil added to it. So I may be cutting myself cutting my foot off, despite myself, by putting these here, because those turmeric are going to be very deep. So another thing to consider is the process of which heat and cold, particularly freezing temps, will travel through the soil. And generally it's about an inch a day. Now we are not going to have freezing temperatures for more than a day. So the freezing temperatures will not get below about the top inch of soil. Our soil never freezes. It's never a problem. So it won't really matter. But I do have my pieces here, and you can see the bee boxes right here. There's bees coming and going, and I think they're probably taking advantage of the last bit of warmth. Right now it's 69 degrees out here. That's about 21 degrees Celsius. It's really warm for January 18th. This is all Biden's Alba in here, and I'm going to just kind of tuck, and this is a relatively shallow rooted plant, but I'm going to tuck some of these pieces back in here around this area. And you can see we have comfrey in here, we have elephant ear. I don't know, what else can we get growing in here? Now, this is not going to be planted over again. So anything I plant here, I mean composted over. Nothing in here is composted. This is my meadow area. I try to keep this as wild as I can and natural. Did I move that camera? Let me check, make sure I got that camera pointing over here in the right direction. It's a little bit high, right? You can see here, it's sand, folks. We have a lot of sand in here. Now there is organic matter in here as well, because I have put compost all over this. I'm not going to do that anymore, or at least not this year. I might in the future. But I'm going to take a few. In fact, I'm going to take one of these big pieces, dump it right here. That's not deep enough. I do want it a little deep because of the cold that we're about to have. It's going to get into the freezing temperatures at night. So if I put this thing an inch or two down, it should be fine. So, don't forget to mark it. There we go. And I'm going to put another one back over here. Ooh. There's a piece of stone under there. That's weird. Now folks, I'm going to put a few of these tiny pieces in here, in the same hole, just to see how well it does, and I'll be able to come back to this video, hopefully, and see what I planted where. I'm going to put 3 relatively small pieces down there. That's, I don't know, 2-3 inches down. It'll be fine. Mark it. How about over there? Right behind the box, the bee box. So as I promised, I got these 3 oldest pieces here that I think may be my original mother roots, and I'm going to plant them in here too, of course. So where exactly is the question? So there's a comfrey right here, the bird bath. And we got the 2 fig trees on either side here. We're going to plant these last 2 biggest pieces. Well, actually, I guess the middle piece, the smallest and biggest piece of these old roots, we're going to put right here. And so there you have it. Hopefully we'll have some turmeric saved for planting in, I don't know, it might be as little as 4 weeks, but it's probably going to be 6 weeks. Beginning of March, maybe the middle of March. Our average first frost is reported to be somewhere between March 1st and March 15th, depending on when you look at it. And frankly, we haven't seen a frost after February 15th since we've lived here. And that's been we're in our 7th winter now. 8th winter now. Oh my goodness, this is our 8th winter. We'll just have to see what happens. So anyway, now I know that some places will talk about storing these in a paper bag, storing it in sawdust, storing it in various ways. I don't know about that. I know for me, and folks, this is just what I'm trying. It's what I've been doing with the ginger, and it's worked. That's the big thing. I've tried a couple of different things with various items, and I've done this. This is my 3rd year. The turmeric is an experiment, but from everything I see on the research, I believe that this is going to work for me as well. And we'll just have to see. I have set a bunch of it in here. We'll just have to see. I did add a little bit more soil. I think I may need to add a little more soil there. That is it. I am going to keep these moist, which means every 10 days to 2 or 3 weeks, I will come in here and make sure that there is a little bit of moisture in this, just a little bit. For the person who suggested making a GoFundMe for my outfits, this is my painting outfit. I actually have 3 categories of clothes. I'm very organized. I have new clothes that I wear to church and to nice events, which are the nice white shirts, no paint on them. The ones that have a little bit of stain, they're actually my working shirts. I actually work like this as a handyman. And then this right here, remember, we've been doing a bit of renovating on the house. We're going to be doing it for the next few months. It's going to put me behind in the garden, I believe. I wear less nice clothes on times like this because, frankly, I'm going to get them messed up, and I don't want to go through too many shirts too fast. And so what I do, if they don't have tears in them, if they're not missing buttons and stuff like that, I put them in the painting section of my closet, and I will use them for when I'm painting or spraying texture on the ceiling or whatnot, and they end up looking like this. All right, appreciate the fun, y'all. Have a blessed day.